Hello, and welcome to the Trades Lunch Bunch. I'm Sharon Wilson, publisher of Resort Trades magazine. Last week, we had Melody Bostick Brown, who is head of the content department, or rather, content marketing and editorial team for Wyndham Destinations. So if you missed that, be sure and go to our YouTube channel, Resort Trades, and you can view that and a bunch of other videos there. Plus, while you're there, please become part of our gathering and subscribe, hit the bell icon so you'll be notified when we have new YouTube videos uploaded. Now, you may have seen in the October Resort Trades demo here, the article by Marge Lennon, Keep Calm and Carry On. It features Jim Danz, who is Executive Vice President of Travel Resorts of America, who will be our speaker today. Now, the Travel Resorts of America was established in 1986 by Steve Baldelli, and it covers RV park and campground, private campgrounds. They have 16,000 active members, 9 RV resort parks for members, tent sites for campers, cabins for those seeking to rent. And the TRA hosted over 136,000 site nights last year in 2019. So welcome, Jimmy, and thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, it's my pleasure, Sharon. Thanks so much for the invitation. Love Resort Trades, and I love the way you guys keep our business connected. So thank you for everything that you do. It's all excellent. You know, I think Travel Resorts of America can best be described as we're a luxury outdoor experience for lodgers, campers, glampers, and obviously RVers. We have self-contained parks and campgrounds. Some of our smaller properties run between 200 and 300 acres. Some of our larger properties are 600 to 850 acres in size. So we've got a pretty vast outdoor scheme to the layouts of our properties and the experiences that we can provide our customers. Every property has a main lodge, guest receptions, general store, sundries and equipment, and really outdoor movies, basketball courts, baseball fields, sports activities. Each of our properties is unique with the customer experience. And I want to show you through a couple of just quick photos. This is Bass Lake Resort. This is our property up in Parrish, New York, about 25-minute drive south of the Salmon River Falls. Has an amazing bass lake that's stocked for catch and release. Beautiful property, and I have to say that the customer experience there and our scores have been really, really high. Our customers love getting away. The autumn fall colors are just changing right now, and getting outdoor has been a huge trend for us these past couple of quarters. This property is Rocky Fork Ranch. This is located up in Ohio, in Kim Bolton. Interestingly enough, we own our own indoor and outdoor sports pavilions. We run our own rodeo. Kids junior riding club can rope and learn how to ride, and just an amazing, what I call truly authentic Western experience. Cabins are really well appointed, different configurations. We have 1 bedroom with lofts, 2 bedrooms, lofts, 3 bedrooms, really all self-contained. No reason really to leave the property if you don't want to. They can buy their equipment and their sundries on site. And it really is an all-inclusive program and opportunity for the customer. This is Wally World Riverside Resort, another property in Ohio, actually runs along 2 sides of our property as frontage to the Mohican River. And during the season, we have anywhere between 10 and 20,000 kayakers that launch and return to the corner of our property. So there's some really interesting opportunities for us for distribution. Wally World's a great park, and one of my favorites, actually. Then we roll into Gettysburg. That's a really unique property. That's literally on the southern tip of the battlefield. And our customers and members actually have to sign a release form that they're not allowed to pick anything up off of hollow ground. But really neat property and a fun experience. You'll see here one of our customers, Stay Calm and Camp On, which was the term that was used for the title of the article written by Marge. It's been an interesting pivot for us. As you know, with COVID, there's been a lot of concerns in travel, still fear in airline travel, some fear as it pertains to cruising, in general hospitality. Although I'm seeing numbers starting to get better and improve, still don't think we're out of the woods yet. Interestingly enough, for this travel segment, we've found real strength that has occurred over the last few quarters. Those same kind of common sense points, driving, road trips, separated lodging without crowded elevators, lobbies, or shared hallways, are very important in the customer's mind today. They want to spend time outdoors. They want a vacation. They're cooped up, and the COVID lockdown has been driving them all crazy. And we have this pent up demand. Speaking of that, it's interesting when you look at all of the manufacturing reports currently for RV manufacturers and distributors. Not even 9 months ago, you could make a new or used purchase and have that inventory in your hands within 2 or 3 days. Now the wait logs are anywhere from 6 to 8 weeks, and we're hearing that it could be even longer as we get into the end of the fourth quarter. And what does that mean for us? Well, in the campground and park space, we have all of these new units that have been purchased that are flooding the market, and they're struggling to find places to take their new equipment and stay. Some of the open source parks like KOA is an example, only so many spaces. And there's been a real challenge for being able to grab inventory from an outdoor enthusiast. So our parks are definitely now an option for them. Big open spaces, can bring your family with you. We also, in our pivot, we have an statement that under Keep Calm, Camp On, where we talk about bringing your quarantine with you. And that's just truly the case. Customers feel comfortable. Their families are there. They can control who comes in and out of their space. Large swaths of acres to be able to play in. If you want to see a friend or another member that's there, sure, you have that opportunity to do it. But if you want to have your own space and not see anyone for a few days, that's your choice as well. So it's been an interesting pivot for us. And because of that, it's brought a lot of strength to our firm in a lot of ways. As crazy as it sounds, I was sharing this a few days ago in a conversation with Sharon, but our customers are really moving to this outdoor experience, and they're feeling safe about it. And because of that and this pent up demand, we're in a real growth mode right now. So we're going into expansion. We're looking to make some key strategic purchases to expand out of the Eastern Seaboard. Today, we are number one inside the coast to coast network, which would be similar to an RCI or an II. Our members buy into our parks and our system, but they have options to go to another 300 locations throughout the United States, which is fantastic and gives our members a lot of options. But we are going to expand, and we believe that we can be one of the consolidators of the industry. So it's an exciting time for the company. And as we are looking at specific markets that we want to operate and expand, and I believe we're going to be going west fairly soon, it's been just an amazingly exciting and fun time. I've had the opportunity to bring in some professionals in from hospitality and the VO sector that have come into this new travel segment, and a lot of our processes and things that we've learned in the vacation ownership timeshare space is definitely applied to this travel segment, although the market and the experience and the customer obviously has its own nuances, but a lot of fun. What I can tell you is that we want to expand in 6 different business units. I'm looking for talented hard chargers with a go until philosophy in our recruiting and sales areas, our sales line, sales management and leadership, resort operations, finance and accounting. It really is truly a growth mode. And we wanted to get the word out to say, hey, here's who we are. This is what we're doing, and have the opportunity to show you a little bit about our product. and hopefully answer any questions that you may have. But we are in a real solid growth mode right now, and we're moving very, very aggressively. And we're actually in a situation today where our distribution is outstripping the size of our sales teams. And with new programs that are going to be applied and coming into full distribution by the end of the fourth quarter as we roll into 2021, we need to expand the ranks of our teams. So I'm really excited to be here with you today. Sharon, I don't know if you have any specific questions or if we want to move straight to Q&A, more than happy to do so.
Well, actually, I wanted to make an observation that Tim, my husband, Tim Wilson, and I are RVers as well. And we had always gone down to a resort in, I think it's called Fort Worth, Florida. And we understand now we can't get any reservations in there because all of these homeless people, because of COVID, are camped out there. And I just use that as an example of the effect that COVID's had on the lack of availability of camping for RVers. And I think that your program's terrific, because if we were to join as members of Travel Resorts of America, our options are opened up. We go to Gettysburg all the time. And so I think it's a hot sales point. This is a great time to be in your business. And Resort Trades, as a matter of fact, is starting to push out to the campground community, private campgrounds.
It was funny. I remember talking to a couple
do you see after COVID?
No,
can you hear me?
I can.
Oh, okay. After COVID, what I think that this will continue, this trend. What do you think?
I think it's going to be a very interesting year. I think 2021, I think there's going to still be very, very solid strength and continued growth. I mean, and when you look at, again, the distribution reports, I'm reading numbers that they anticipate selling 300,000 to 400,000 units in the last quarter and was close to 500,000. So there's definitely demand is pushing our way currently, and which is an amazing thing. In a lot of ways, I feel like our company is stronger during COVID than it was pre-COVID, as crazy as that sounds. But I think 2020 is very strong. I mean, here around the table, we've talked about it, and no one has a crystal ball, but our belief is that even if the U.S. government comes up with a vaccine and we see it in the first or second quarter of next year, we kind of personally think it's going to take a year and a half for everyone in the country to get vaccinated. So I don't think it's going away anytime soon. But I do hope that our friends on the traditional side of hospitality and vacation ownership and timeshare, that things improve as we get further down the road and there's a little bit more normalcy, if that makes sense.
Yes, indeed.
So let's start with Bob's question. He says, when you transitioned the company from the past sales model to the vacation ownership model, did you have to also change and explain the VPG method of Calm?
Yeah, really good point. Good question, Bobby. Yeah, absolutely. A couple of different things that we did, right? We looked at the marketing side and the sales side, and I kind of looked at the project as a workout and a turnaround, right? Where could we drop costs, get marketing to perform at a more efficient level, increase the closing percentage and the average sales price to obviously affect the yield and the profit that we made. But to answer Bob's question specifically, yeah, we had to sit down and explain that not just closing percentage would drive compensation. So we look at not just closing percentage, but average sales price and VPG. And VPG obviously drives everything, right? Efficiency drives the machine. And it wasn't a very tough transition. Most of the staff made it a fairly easy transition, actually. It's funny. I think some of the team that's come out of the VO business is learning a lot about this segment, and it's a vice versa. So it's kind of takes a village. So in process.
Jim Beckham has a wry comment. He says, Jimmy, where is your tie? And what did you do with all those great suits? How is the club structured? And are you using points for reservations? Great questions, Jim.
Well,
and
hello.
Nice to hear from you, too.
Always nice to hear from him. So give me the first part of the three.
Besides, where is your tie and where are your great suits? He says, how is the club structured?
Yeah, so today the club is structured, we primarily their 30-year right to use, which is interesting. A couple of properties have a little bit longer time frame and some have a little shorter, but you can pretty much call it 30-year right to use. We've been having conversations around the boardroom table that we believe at the end of that time frame that we will most likely re-up all of our current members that are current with their annual fees, maintenance fees, that we would probably renew them for another period at the total amount of $1. But that's what we're talking about currently. But to answer your question, it's a right to use schematic, and the customer can still will it, they can still sell it, they can have all the rights and the use and the benefits to the membership. So that's how it's structured basically. Our average sales price is running about $10,500. When I landed here, it was about $8,200 to $8,400. So we've had some movement on ASP. We've had some movement as far as closing percentage. Interestingly enough, we are trying to move our way towards a 20% blended close. Here in this business, there are two types of customers being distributed to our sales sites. One is an RV customer and one is a non-RV customer. The best way to describe both is that an RV customer would be very similar to what we would define in the VO space as an in-house tour. So high yield, and the sales process is problem solving for the customer. Non-RV tours, that's going to be our traditional renter of cabins or dry campers but doesn't own RV, would be what I would define as a traditional VO frontline tour where you're selling the dream. So new business in, members, upgrades along the way. We have an 8-tier program right now with a starting price point of about $5,500 that can move all the way up to a premier plan, which is $15,000. And we're working on some additional upgrades to the system. For our non-RV customer, though, we've also gone in and picked up the white label platform through SOR and ICE, which we call Ask Roscoe. We're in the very early stages of launching, but that is an online travel platform that gives up to 50% discounts, as you all probably are aware of that product. So we've added that in. So I think as far as structure, that about covers it. Unless you have any other questions, I can tell you the coast-to-coast membership runs about $149 to $199 a year. When our new member buys in, they get that at complimentary for the first year, and if they continue to want that system, then they can pay for that.
Okay, great. Well, Jim also wanted to know about if you're using points for reservations.
We are not using points, but we are having a very, very strong conversation about that. I think as we expand, and whether that goes through the Midwest or the Southwest into the West Coast, I think for us to expand and to scale, I think points is going to be a huge part of our game plan. We are not there yet. Right now, it's been just about processes, improving processes, bringing in the right talent, getting them trained up, getting them focused and running in one direction to a team goal and a finish line. And it's going well. It's going really, really well. I've enjoyed it. It's been a lot of fun. It reminds me of the business like it was in the 90s. We're still entrepreneurial, so we're able to still move a little bit fast. Or faster than some of the normal brands would be able to, just because of sheer size and scope, right? We're still that little tiny PT boat bouncing around, but we're able to move through. You have a lot of people who are spending time together in really close quarters, dropping down all the barriers and the firewalls and working collectively as a team to provide, world-class service and an amazing experience for our customers. So it's been really fun. I haven't had fun in a while. I mean, there's always different forms of fun that it comes with the business, but to truly go, man, I look forward to going to work every day and spending time with our people and creating better memories for our customers. It's been rejuvenating for me, to be quite honest.
Well, you just sound like I remember when we met, you were with Success Marketing, Don Dubin and everybody, and you were just like you are today, just nonstop. So I admire that. We have a couple more questions. Marge Lennon wanted to know what percentage of RV owners are also great question, are also timeshare owners. And
we heard a number that, and I have not been able to qualify if this is correct, but I have heard through the grapevine that about 1 in 25 RCI members are RV owners.
Yeah, I heard that, or maybe even more.
Absolutely. So, I mean, I think it's definitely a market that's still untapped, and there's a lot of leverage here. And I think there's a ton of room for expansion. And with the right strategic acquisitions made, I think it can be a great platform and a great system nationwide.
Les Abeta, I hope I pronounced your last name correctly. I should know better. But considering the current shortage of campsites, what percentage of your campers are rentals? I assume cabin rentals.
Our lodgers would make up about 15 to 20% of our stays.
And how does seasonality impact campgrounds being open?
Yeah, I learned that. I learned that the hard way last year on my second quarter on the job. Learning things like, hey, if the ground gets too cold and you can't run water, you've got issues. And traditionally, I'll use New York as an example. Usually around November 1st through hopefully early January, there's a shutdown at the site level. So first thing I stated was, well, we're still going to have sales. Just because maybe the park might not be operating, we can still have sales going on. So that was kind of a learning experience for me. I can say when I arrived here, the sales teams were normally given off about 2 to 2.5 weeks of vacation time during the month of December. Part of that was primarily being driven because of some of the closures in the north. And normally the sales teams would take off for the long holidays. So there had to be a lot of conversations that, we're a hospitality company, and in hospitality and in driving customers and tours to distribute to our sales centers, you tend to want to be open when they want to be there. So holidays are a really important time for us now. So we've been able to tack on to our top line because of the holiday business now that we're writing. So yeah, good question. And that was definitely a learning experience for me last year for sure.
Another thought, Tim is the owner and developer of a retirement community just for RVers called Gardens RV Village. We're in Crossville, Tennessee. Shameless plug there. But we go every year in the middle of February to a rally. And not a rally, really, it's a show in Springfield, Massachusetts. And we plod through ice and snow. And they have 40,000 customers come. I think it's every day because there's nothing else to do there. But that might be a nice opportunity to sell some, if you're not already attending, to sell some campground memberships.
That's interesting. It's been a heck of a pivot. There was a lot of stress put on the marketing teams because obviously when the first round of COVID hit, everything just kind of blew up really, really quickly. Pipelines were being canceled and customers were rescheduling with undetermined future dates. And it was really rough. I have to say one of the things that we moved on pretty quickly, we made 2 major pivots on the marketing side. One was that we moved everybody to at-home agents. We were so concerned that if it only took one representative to come into our call center, and get sick or be sick that we could lose the entire center. Incredibly so, I was asked by Steve Bedelli, our president and CEO, to pivot quickly and move to an at-home platform. And I said, okay, I need a couple days to think about it, which was the weekend. And on Monday morning, Steve came back to me and said, okay, have you got it done yet? And I went, no, not quite, boss. But interestingly enough, IT and everybody got together, and we literally, if you can believe this, true statement, within 10 business days, we made a complete pivot and moved the entire CX center to at home, and then started recruiting nationally for at-home agents, which actually expanded the opportunity outside of just trying to market for talent here in the Pinehurst Southern Pines area. So that was kind of an amazing pivot for us. The other pivot that was really instrumental was that our digital marketing was making up about 15 to 20% of all of our distribution. We went real heavy to digital when COVID first came in for round one, and now it's making up close to 42% of our distribution is digital based. So Facebook campaigns that we are initiating with the TRA brand. We also have a same version that goes with the Good Sam brand. That's our partnership with them through Camping World and Gander Outdoor. And really the most exciting thing that I'm looking forward to that we haven't been able to launch, because if you think about a gun with 10 bullets in it, I'm firing 3 right now. The other 7 are closed. There are no special events going on. I'm not doing alliance partnerships with NASCAR or Indy. We don't have the major stadiums for professional baseball or football or basketball. The major RV super shows and the expos are all closed. So obviously lead generation has been affected, but the pivots that we've made right now with 8 weeks to go, we are trekking to beat the 2019 numbers, even though we were stricken with COVID this year, and doing it with only 3 out of 10 possible bullets to fire in our marketing and sales efforts. So I'm kind of excited, because if we can, maintain what we're doing with this small amount of distribution through lead gen that we're able to currently do in this environment, this COVID environment, we get any type of normalcy back. I see us making some, major additional strides in growth here over the next couple of quarters, even above and beyond where we've already moved the needle.
Good for you. That is just wonderful. I'm so glad to see good folks doing good.
Well, my mother used to say, even acorn falls on blind squirrel occasionally.
That's right. Well, Nicholas Bacon says, Michael Finn asks, have you joined the glamping trend, and does your expansion include the Southeast?
Well, yes to the Southeast, and glamping I want to do. Do we have a specific glamping product today? No, we don't. It is on the conversation because millennials love that product. And we are seeing an influx of millennials the last couple of quarters that are actually now buying their first new or used piece of RV equipment, whether it's an ABC class motorhome or a travel trailer pop-up. We're seeing millennials coming in. We just worked with the University of Utah. Sherry Levinton's been assisting me with that, and they have 19 MBAs, all millennials, by the way, writing a white paper for us right now on how to sell this product to millennials, and really interesting some of the feedback that we got. And I love him, by the way. So if you want me to share the information with you offline, more than happy to. You know how to get a hold of me, call me.
Okay. Douglas Murray says, I'm so glad we were already doing webinars for our upgrades. This was not a huge transition. So I gather his question of you would be about webinars and your success, or what your thoughts.
So all these were new programs. We brought in a telesales team that we put together. They are doing upgrade calls at 61 days from purchase. Very, very successful right now. Extremely profitable to the company and growing exponentially. So we're really excited about that. A trial membership program was new to them. We've started that. Exit programs A little bit of what we would define as traditional programming in our playbook. Some of this is definitely considered new to them, but everybody's enjoying the process. So it's you always learn something new, right? Or we're taking something that we've known for a long time and having it evolve and putting different type of lipstick on it, making tweaks along the way. So no rocket science work here. More of just taking what we know and where it fits in this segment is working for us, and we're learning new things that we wouldn't normally traditionally do in the VO world. So it's been an interesting learning experience for both sides of the boardroom table.
And Les Abeta again, he asked something about partnering with Camping World, which I imagine you've run into.
Yeah, so we have a partnership that we have assembled with them, and through Coast to Coast, which is all under kind of one umbrella. You might have heard of Marcus Lemonis, the Prophet. That's the Camping World brand, the Gander Outdoor brand, and Coast to Coast. So today I have all locations in my markets we are able to lead gen out of in two areas of the business. When you go into these Gander Outdoor Camping World super sites, they have a service area and then they have a retail area, right? So you're either bringing your equipment in for maintenance or you're buying, and it's interesting. We're seeing numbers that, you know, customers are spending anywhere from an hour to 2 hours in these stores, very similar to the old blue-green Bass Pro model. So we're generating leads out of those locations, and although I am waiting for events and on-site programming to go active again, we have the permission to open up a concierge campaign inside those stores and be able to sell our packages, sell our mini vacs, our overnight stays. While I'm on that subject, just on a side note, when I got here, everything was complimentary. If you were coming in and doing a camping stay, whether it was a 3-day 2-night or a 4-day 3-night or a 5-4 stay, most of the time, again, 99 times out of 100, it would have been a complimentary offer. We've now pivoted to a complete pay-to-play model. So those customers now that were last year being offered to come stay free with us are now paying $129, $169, $199. The CX Center now is going to, instead of driving no revenue in because everything was complimentary, now driving $30,000, $40,000 a month is where we will ultimately end up. So it's definitely been a change, and that's dropped CPT, cost per tour, down. We had some high tour costs when we first arrived, and I have to give a ton of credit to both Michael Reyes, my Vice President of Marketing, and Justin Joseph, my Director of CX. They've done an amazing job. I mean, their CPT has dropped close to $200 since our arrival, and that just does huge things to the margin when you can drive more distribution and do it for a lot less in the expense side. At the same time, take a $8,200, $8,400 average sales price and move that to $10,500 and still be able to get your closing percentages to move 3 or 4 percentage points. We're not where we want to be yet. Steve is driving for about a 17% non-RV close and a 22 to 24% RV close for a blended close of about 20% plus. We're not quite there yet. Obviously, like in the world of timeshare, right, your frontline tours will normally suppress your overall VPG from in-house. We're finding some of the same things here with a non-RV tour versus an RV tour. But things like Retro Row is an example. If I need to pivot really quick, we didn't have to worry about construction time or how many more cabins we had to bring on. We talked with the manufacturer through Riverside RV called Retro Row. We purchased 31-foot, 35-foot Retro Row style trailers. I mean, these are down to the black and white checkered floors, the red vinyl wraparound sofas. I mean, it looks like I Love Lucy out of 1950, 1960. And we're charging, $169, $199 for a customer to come for 3 days and 2 nights and just come in. They have nothing to set up. They just roll into the trailer. It's ready to go. The site is set up. They stay for a few days and they roll out. And it's been amazing. I could do more turns and inventory right now, but because of our stringent sanitizing policies, we have a 30-point cleaning policy for COVID right now at all of our sites. After a customer leaves our site, we wait 24 hours with our cabins. we don't turn them right away. So we let them sit for 24. Then a team goes in. We'll do the cleansing of the unit, and then we move on. So I'd like to be able to turn them a little bit more than I am, but for the safety of our customers, and our customers completely appreciate that we're doing that, I think it's a win-win.
Well, you mentioned Retro Row and Nicholas Bacon. I missed his question earlier. He wanted to ask, is that open to the public or just members or just tours? How do you?
So we are private membership, but in all of our distribution, if we are inviting non-members down, whether they own an RV or not an RV, they can participate in those programs. We can set them up for a short stay in a cabin. We can set them up for a short stay. Here's a couple of pictures of Retro Row. This is at our Georgia property. They're just going in right now. Unfortunately, the construction and the final finish isn't in these photos for the exterior, but they are really cool. I mean, they're really cool. I mean, even down to some of the aquamarine colored style refrigerators that you remember from the 50s. So it's really neat. They come in different colors. They've got the white walls on them. Customer comes in. We're comfortably able to sleep four. The area that you see there opposite of the kitchen, the wraparound, that'll roll out to sleep 2 as well. So you could do 6. I think it's more comfortable with 4 inside those trailers. But, you know, think about it. I can go and make a phone call and have 4 of them, you know, rolled in like we did in Florida, and 4 additional units in Georgia. And, you know, we go to business. So to me, 2021 is going to be all about huge growth in national scope, package sales, pay to play with the customer. And that's what we're going to try and accomplish over the next 4 quarters.
We've provided your contact information. We will make sure that everybody has access to your email. And I wanted to thank you so much for joining us. And it's been a really privilege for us to have you.
Well, thank you. It's a privilege and all mine. Really an honor to be here. And just tell everybody I need help. I'm looking for sales, marketing, finance. I need help everywhere, guys. So call me and reach out, because I'd love to talk with you. And again, Sharon, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you. And to our viewers on YouTube, if you view this later, please subscribe to our channel. We need your participation. We need our group, frankly, in vacation ownership, as well as now campground membership, to come together, continue to network, continue to talk to one another. And so this will help. So thank you, and we'll bid you adieu.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.